Hi, I'm Young. I am the senior style editor at GQ. Today we're at 10 Foot Single by Stella Dallas, one of the sickest vintage stores in all of Brooklyn. We're gonna take a look around, check out a few racks. I'm gonna put a rack of my own together full of stuff that I might buy, and we'll talk through my thought process as I shop. So we are here in the denim section of 10 Foot Single. As you can see, they have this massive wall of incredible jeans. Almost all of these are American-made Levi's. They're a little bit older. They've got a little bit better quality to them. They're gonna hold up and sort of stand the test of time. And a lot of them have really cool wear and tear on them. Like this one from 1991. You can tell that someone really wore the crap out of these. They have a really strong wallet fade here. They are from Levi's Orange Tab collection, which is their sort of more experimental line. A really good pair of jeans is like a diary. If you wear them every day, you wear them in all sorts of situations, they sort of fade and crease to a person's body. These are basically my size too, so I might try these on and see how they fit. One great thing about coming to a store like 10 Foot Single is that the people who run this place are really, really knowledgeable about the stuff that they're selling you. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck looking for really telltale signs of the era. You got to look at tags really carefully and compare them. In terms of things that I would skip, this pair of 90s Levi's, they are a 512 slim fit with a tapered leg, and I just know for my body that's not gonna look that great. I like more of a straight leg or a wider leg. Something about the way that these will just sort of cut in at your ankle just won't have the most flattering effect when they sit on top of my shoes. I'm also not the biggest fan of boot cuts. A boot cut jean is a jean like this where it sort of flares out at the bottom. The idea being that cowboy boots are pretty hefty and wide, and so you might need a more generous cut at the bottom of your jean to fit your boots underneath. I think they look really, really good on certain people. A very famous recent example would be Kendrick at the Super Bowl. Looked awesome in his Celine flared jeans, but unfortunately, I'm just not one of those people. You know, in this moment, I do like a little bit more of a beat up jean, something like this, for instance, where you have some real signs of life, right? There's some really cool whiskering that's happening up here. Whiskering is these sort of lines that form. Those happen because of the way that your jeans crease when you're sitting down, when you're bending your legs, when you're moving around. I know what year most of these jeans are from, but a good way to tell what era a pair of jeans is if you flip the cuff up and you see selvage, which is sort of that often white and red taping that runs up along the seam of a pair of jeans. That means that it's a pair of Levi's that's from before the mid 80s, essentially. Oh, wow. This is pretty sick. Here's a really great example of a pair of jeans that were super well loved. Someone probably blew out the knees of these, but didn't want to give them up, so they patched them up themselves. This is really rad. I mean, again, these are the kinds of things that you'll only find in a vintage store. Where else are you gonna find a pair of jeans with Elmo staring back at you from your knees? This is really cool. These are a pair of Levi's from their line Levi's Vintage Clothing. These are a reproduction of a really, really classic pair of Levi's. The 501 is the original straight leg cut. It's the jeans that Levi's has been making since the 1890s. And as such, it's the most revered fit in denim. People are really, really serious about their 501s, and sticklers really love having a button fly, which is sort of the original way that jeans were closed, and it results in a different way that the placket on your jeans gets washed and fades differently. All right, now I'm going to check out some shirts. It has been a long, cold winter here in New York. Spring is finally starting to spring, so I'm looking for something a little bit lighter. And when it comes to lightweight, sort of warm weather shirts, there's nothing better in my mind than a really classic Madras. Madras is a plaid fabric that's been used in menswear for a really, really long time. The name comes from the Indian city, which is now known as Chennai. A really interesting thing about Madras fabric is that these plaids are traditionally made using vegetable dyes, which have, this curious habit of sort of bleeding, of the lines sort of starting to run a little bit when they're damp. That might sound like a bad thing, like when you wash your shirt, it's not gonna look the same when it comes out of the wash, but it's actually a feature of these shirts that people really, really look for and sort of covet. And on real old school Madras shirts, you'll see tags like this one that says, guaranteed to fade and bleed. just like the way that denim wears in over time. Madras shirts do exactly the same thing, and I think that's like a really, really cool feature about them. And also, they're this really beautiful cotton fabric that's like light and nice to wear in the summertime. When you are shopping in vintage stores and thrift stores and you're looking for sort of vacation-y shirts, you also come across a lot that sort of look, let's say like this. These sort of 70s-y shirts that are made, as you can see, not from cotton, but more of like a rayon. I generally try to steer clear of these. Often they have these really funky patterns. They look really cool. To me, it's a really weird fabric to want to wear in the summertime. It is like as non-breathable as it gets. You are gonna be sweating up a storm wearing something like this. You won't smell very good to the people around you. And so no matter how good you look, you won't feel all that great. You know, a lot of different brands make great Madras shirts. Brooks Brothers, as like sort of a classic American menswear purveyor, does a lot of great ones. I'm pretty stoked on this one here, which is a really nice faded patchwork Madras. You know, it's got a bunch of different patterns all stitched together. Really, really, really nicely faded. You know, you can definitely tell that somebody probably spent like a bunch of summers at Cape Cod wearing this guy, digging into some lobster. I'm definitely gonna try this guy on. And then on the flip side, I actually really like the look of this long sleeve button down. It's from Gant, another classic American preppy brand. Another cool thing about this shirt is that it's dead stock, which means that it's vintage but was never actually worn. You can see that it still has its original tags and is pretty much exactly how you would have found it on the shelves decades ago. The Madras here is like this really sort of nice darker tones of navy and orange, and I just think this will look really good with a pair of jeans or a pair of chinos. A lightweight fabric like this with the sleeves rolled up. It's just a really good look on like a nice spring day. So I'm gonna try this guy on too. When I'm shopping for shirts, it's like a mix of everything, right? I'm looking for fabrics and colors that are gonna catch my eye, that I think might look good on me. I'm feeling the fabric to see if it feels good in your hand, it's probably gonna feel good on your body. And then with shirts specifically, I'm always looking for great collars. I personally like a bit more of a longer collar, a collar that's got a little more attitude and body to it. I don't really like a wimpy collar. You know, like a collar like this with a really aggressive, longer point is really cool to me. Something like this, which is a little daintier, a little smaller, isn't really quite as much my jam. In addition to Madras, another really classic fabric for the summertime is seersucker. And this is a really, really beautiful seersucker shirt. It's definitely from the mid-century. It's got this really cool old McGregor label. That's beautiful. Seersucker itself is this form of cotton that is puckered. It's like super lightweight. It feels great on the skin and is extremely breathable. It's really a staple in the South. There's like sort of this stereotype of Southern lawyers wearing seersucker suits cut into a vacation shirt like this, which has this camp collar. It's the kind of collar that lays open. It's like way more relaxed. It's meant to be worn on vacation. And it's $75, which is pretty hefty for a vintage shirt, I will grant you, but it's still got all of its original buttons. It's got these really nice dual pockets on the front, a great, great collar. Like, this is just a really, really perfect shirt in my opinion. I think it's gonna be a little too small for me, but if you are in Brooklyn, swing by and grab it. This is an absolute banger for the summertime. So we are now gonna look at a few leather jackets. Leather jackets are a great thing to look for because they are such pricey investment item, and you can often get really good value on an older leather jacket as opposed to buying one new. And you know, when it comes to leather jackets, there are probably two main kinds that people are shopping for. There are biker jackets that are meant to be worn on motorcycles, and then there's like aviator bombers were worn by pilots. Those are both great, you know, like if you want to look like Maverick from Top Gun, you can. But the cool thing about a store like Style Dallas is that you will also find a whole world of other kinds of leather jackets, kookier, weirder leather jackets, and that's where my heart lies. That's what I'm gonna be looking for right now. So for instance, I spotted just now this crazy 70s leather blazer. It's like got a bit of a Western wear vibe to it. It's got all this crazy knotted stitching. This trim is pretty incredible. It's just like something that catches the eye and you want to just kind of keep staring at it. It's a 1970s men's whip stitch leather blazer. It's $495, which of new leather jackets will run you upwards of $1,000, sometimes $2,000, sometimes $5,000. This is like a one-on-one, you know what I mean? Like just look at this thing. It's wild. Another leather jacket that caught my eye here is this really heavyweight, old school Western jacket. Very, very cool. It's from Sears. Sears just made like such great, high quality, made in America, heavyweight clothes that are meant for the outdoors, meant for working in. As a result, a lot of those clothes really stood the test of time. And it's got all this really cool detail. So it's got this sort of traditional Western stitching motif along the collar. It's got this Western placket that comes down here into sort of an arrow shape. You can sort of really tell that somebody lived in this jacket. Like, it's very well loved. You know, suede is a really heavy, but also sort of delicate material. Like it wears in really easily. And I think it comes out looking all the better for it. You know, it's like, you can feel the history behind it when you're wearing it. In terms of leather jackets that I'm not feeling on this rack, there are a couple. There's just too much happening here. You know, it's a trench coat made of leather. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, this thing is tiny. It's not meant for someone my size, but it's also just like got way too much happening. It says 100% leather, which sometimes actually is not a good sign. That means that it might be made of composite leathers, and it kind of ends up having this cheaper, more plasticky, kind of vinyl-y feel. You want something that, like, so for instance, this one, I noticed it says 60s deerskin, and if it says the kind of leather that it is, that generally means it's all cut from one hide, higher quality, real leather with real grain that'll sort of stand the test of time a little bit better and just feel nicer overall. All right, I think I filled a rack full of incredible stuff. I am going to try it on, see how it actually fits me. Let's go. Okay, I tried everything on, and here is what I'm gonna grab. I am gonna get this Patchwork Madras Brooks Brothers shirt for $55. I'm getting these Levi's vintage clothing 501s for $145. And then I'm gonna grab this 1960s deerskin jacket, which is $145 also. All right, that's it. Thanks so much for walking the rack with me, and I'll see you at the next store.